Hi there, and welcome to the Celeb Tea. For many people, the name Kim Richards brings back memories of 1970s Disney films or the unforgettable drama of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. To some, she was the cheerful, funny sister, the one who wore her heart on her sleeve and often found herself in vulnerable situations. On screen, she appeared as the soft-spoken yet fiery woman who was unafraid to stand her ground, even when emotions ran high. Viewers often remember her iconic outbursts, like when she told a castmate, "You're being rude," or when she tearfully confronted others about being mistreated. Beneath the feisty exterior, however, was someone who felt deeply misunderstood and constantly on edge. Kim wasn't just defending herself in those moments, she was trying to be heard in a world that seemed determined to silence her pain. But away from the glitz of Beverly Hills and the ever-rolling cameras, Kim Richards' story took a much darker turn. What began as a life filled with promise and fame slowly spiraled into a painful cycle of arrests, relapses, legal troubles, and personal humiliation. Over time, the narrative shifted from glamour to tragedy, a stark reminder of the high price that often comes with fame, addiction, and the unforgiving pressures of reality television. Kim Richards' rise to fame began long before the Bravo cameras ever captured her life. She was a bona fide child star in the 1970s, appearing in major Disney productions such as Escape to Witch Mountain and No Deposit, No Return. With her bright smile and all-American charm, she became one of Hollywood's most beloved young faces. Fame found her early, and so did the pressures that came with it. Before most kids her age were thinking about school dances, Kim was already navigating movie sets, publicity tours, and the demanding world of child stardom. As the years passed, she transitioned into television, but her career never quite regained the same magic as her Disney days. Then, in 2010, Bravo cast her in The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, alongside her sisters Kyle Richards and Kathy Hilton. For many fans, this was their first real introduction to Kim, not as a child actress, but as a complex adult woman living in the shadows of Hollywood's elite. Unlike many of her castmates who thrived on luxury, status, and high drama, Kim stood out for different reasons. She wasn't just dramatic, she was raw, emotional, and fragile in a way that made her both relatable and heartbreaking. Viewers saw her laugh and joke one moment, then crumble under the weight of her emotions the next. She openly discussed her battle with alcoholism, admitting to periods of sobriety followed by painful relapses. But what audiences didn't fully realize was how deep her struggles ran. The cheerful, sometimes childlike personality that fans adored masked an inner storm. The Kim Richards that fans rooted for on television wasn't always the same person behind closed doors. Off-camera, she was fighting battles that few could see, ones tied to addiction, instability, and emotional pain that had been building for years. The first time Kim's private struggles exploded into the public eye was in April 2015. The scene was the iconic Beverly Hills Hotel, a glamorous spot known for old Hollywood elegance. But that night, Kim wasn't there for cocktails or celebrity mingling. According to reports, she was intoxicated, loud, and refused to leave the premises. When police arrived, things quickly escalated. Kim was arrested and charged with trespassing, public intoxication, and resisting arrest after allegedly kicking an officer during the scuffle. For someone once considered Hollywood royalty, the sight of Kim Richards in a police booking photo was shocking. It was a heartbreaking contrast between her polished TV image and her painful reality. The aftermath was brutal. Professionally, Kim faced backlash from Bravo and her castmates. Personally, she expressed deep regret in interviews, acknowledging her shame and promising to seek treatment. But by that point, the damage was already done. The once beloved child star and reality TV favorite was now reduced to tabloid headlines about criminal charges and substance abuse. Her struggles didn't stop there. Just a few months later, in August 2015, Kim's name made headlines again, this time for something even stranger. She was reportedly caught shoplifting at a Target store in Venice, California. According to police reports, Kim filled her cart with about $600 worth of merchandise, including toys and household items, and tried to leave without paying. Store security detained her until the police arrived, and she spent the night in jail before being released on a $5,000 bail. To many, this incident was both baffling and tragic. Kim wasn't a criminal mastermind. She was a woman clearly struggling to stay afloat. The shoplifting charge seemed to symbolize how far she had fallen from her Disney and Beverly Hills glory days. After the 2015 Target incident, Kim Richards' life entered a painful rhythm. Short periods of recovery followed by another relapse, another headline, and another wave of public criticism. Each mistake seemed to overshadow her efforts to heal. Despite multiple stints in rehab and heartfelt promises to turn her life around, Kim struggled to find lasting stability. For someone who had spent her entire life in front of cameras, privacy was almost impossible. Every setback became a headline, every mistake a viral moment. Her sister, Kyle Richards, often carried the emotional weight of Kim's struggles. Their complicated bond became one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills' most defining storylines. Kyle loved her sister deeply, but also felt helpless watching her self-destruct. Those close to her said she wanted to find balance, a sense of peace that fame had stolen from her long ago. She occasionally made brief appearances on Bravo, but avoided the chaotic spotlight that had once defined her. Yet the ghosts of her past refused to stay silent. In 2024, reports emerged that Kim had been placed under a psychiatric hold following another mental health crisis. The news devastated fans who had hoped she was finally finding stability. To many, it felt like the tragic culmination of decades of emotional pain, unresolved trauma, and the relentless pressures of fame. But despite the turmoil, Kim Richards' story remains one of survival. She has spoken openly about her journey through addiction and her ongoing commitment to sobriety. Friends and family have described her as fragile yet fiercely determined, a woman who refuses to let her mistakes define her forever. Her legacy today is complicated but deeply human. She is not just a former Disney star or a reality TV personality. She is a symbol of resilience in the face of relentless public scrutiny. Kim's story reminds the world that behind every glamorous persona lies a real person, one who laughs, cries, struggles, and fights to find meaning in the chaos. The tragedy of Kim Richards isn't just about addiction or fame. It's about a woman who was never allowed to stop performing, even when the camera stopped rolling. Her life serves as both a warning and an inspiration. It warns of the destructive side of fame and addiction, yet inspires through her refusal to give up entirely. In the end, Kim Richards' journey is not just about downfall. It's about endurance. She continues to search for peace, healing, and redemption, proof that even the brightest stars can dim but never truly go dark.